This is music.
Film production. Film production. Film production.
This is Phase Ed Music. This is Phase Ed Music.
The champ is here. I just watch shit right here. The champ is here. This shit is quite. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here.
Fucking with the champion, you already know. AAD, game divided. You fucking with the champion, you already know.
Great name.
Niggas know the champ is in here. He took it from crack to rap. Now he put out 2 anthems a year. And I just want to rock for a century. And then chase the book with the documentary. If you can't do nothing other than flow, life's a bitch like the mother from Blow. Let's go. Don't make me put your arm on your lap. Fuck riding the beat, nigga. Parallel park on the track. Hop out looking crispy, fresh and new. And it's sick, but it's a B and it's Pepsi Blue. And I don't know.
It's your boy.
Deep in Israel, the people's champ. Holla at me. How y'all doing? How y'all doing today? Happy Sabbath day. Happy Sabbath day. Hope my people doing well. Good afternoon, Judah. Good afternoon, the rest of Israel. It's February 26th, 2022. We're gonna chop it up a little bit. Got the pineapple burning. Shout out to my sister Ashley. Pineapple sage. I'm about to run out. I gotta hit my spot up. I think they're back open. They offer COVID. So I can get some more pineapple. Today's topic. Y'all gotta forgive me. I feel like I just stepped off an airplane. My ears have stopped up a little bit. Both of them. It's crazy. But anyway, today's topic is why Michael Jordan is not the GOAT and never has been. He's never been the GOAT. Now, let me monologue a little bit on that. I grew up a Chicago Bulls fan. I'm in that era, that generation. I was in high school in the 90s. I started high school in 1990, freshman year. My middle school years, I remember it was always Jordan versus Dominique. Who was the better dunker? Right? We'll go back a little bit further than that. That was 88, 89 when I was in middle school. Before that, most of the men around me, they pretty much, it was always the Lakers and the Celtics. And most of the men around me, being from Jersey, gravitated away from the Celtics. We didn't rock with the Celtics. Everybody pretty much rocked with, Kareem and Magic, the Lakers. So the Lakers was actually the very first team I liked. That's all I knew. Like most guys my age, Generation X. And I remember the Bulls' first championship run where they were playing against the Lakers. And I remember the old men, it was the old men versus the young men, basically. And now we're going to see some real basketball because Magic is going to show this ball hog how to play basketball. I remember the rhetoric. I remember the talking points. They didn't want to give Michael Jordan his props, because most of our father's generation, they grew up with not just with Magic and Kareem. They grew up watching Dr. J, and those older guys. And at that time, Jordan, he would have never been able to do what he does against Dr. J and Magic and this person, whoever their favorite person was, Black Jesus and Oscar and all of them. Now, so I find it real funny today. Those same guys, because see now they're the announcers. They're the Stephen A's and guys in my era. Stephen A's and all of these guys, and Jordan is the GOAT all of a sudden. Most of these guys hated Jordan when he was playing because they had their teams. The Knicks or whoever their team was, they didn't give Jordan his props. Or as Tommy Sotomayor would say, they wouldn't give him his flowers while he was playing. Right? So those same guys today, now we're in they first did it to Kobe. Prior to LeBron, it was Kobe, Kobe and SHAQ, and, all SHAQ could do was dunk. That was a criticism of SHAQ. And Kobe is just a clone of Jordan, which is true. Now, those guys in my generation, they're the announcers. They're on TV. They're doing all the commentary, all of the Monday morning quarterbacking. Even his rivals like Barkley and some of these other guys that played with him. Jordan is the GOAT. I just find that very funny. First and foremost, I'm a basketball fan. I'm a fan of the game. I like good basketball. Um, I think that's why I became a UNLV Running Rebels fan. Because, see, back then it was Duke and North Carolina, you know. But the best basketball team I ever seen in college play college ball was UNLV Running Rebels. That's another conversation. But I'm a fan of the game. Of course, I was a Nets fan. I always had an appreciation for the Nets when they played in Jersey. These new Nets, they not the Brooklyn Nets. I don't claim them. They fake Nets. Real Nets was when you had Petrovic playing. Petrovic used to get in Jordan's ass, by the way. Anyway, want to stay on topic. I don't want to get off because basketball, I can venture out. So Jordan is not the GOAT. He's never been the GOAT. So, in my opinion, and believe me, this is all my opinion and my perspective. We'll never be able to. LeBron and Jordan will never play. That the technology hasn't happened where we can make that matchup happen. The Chicago Bulls, Jordan's Bulls will never play Curry's Warriors. It'll never happen. Even though I think the Warriors would win. We'll never see. So all we got is speculation. And usually when people come out in the side of the argument is based on their age, who they are, and what the era they grew up in. People typically cling to the era that they grew up in. Hence why all of a sudden Jordan is the GOAT. And while LeBron will never be able to pass Jordan, I've seen these guys like Stephen A. say that 1,000 times. There's nothing LeBron can do to catch Jordan, is what they say. First, they used to move the goalposts, right? Oh, Jordan, LeBron got to do this. LeBron got to do that. LeBron got to do this. Now, in the last 10 years or so, particularly the last 5 years, there's nothing LeBron could do. First, they said, LeBron wins the championship in Cleveland. Got to put him up there. Or then he did that. Oh, LeBron wins the championship in LA too. That'd be 3 championships with 3 different teams. That'll do it. He did it. That ain't enough. They make up these frivolous arguments, such as Jordan is 6-0. Jordan won 3 championships, took off 2 years, came back and won 3 more, is what they say. That's not true. Jordan did not take off 2 years. Jordan only played baseball for 1 year. He played baseball in 1994. He won a championship in 93. He played baseball in 94. He got beat by SHAQ and Penny in 1995. So where's these 2 years that he was out of the game? I'll wait. See, people get nostalgic and they want to reinvent history. Unfortunately, facts are a funny thing. They don't change. And in today's world, we got Google. Anybody can look up what I'm saying. The Bulls won a championship in 93, 91, 92, 93. First 3 championships. He retired after that 93 season to play baseball. He came back in 95. Shaq and Penny whooped that ass. Everybody acts like that didn't happen. So then they changed the rules. Oh, well, he's 6-0 in the finals now. Now the goalpost got moved again. Now it's in the finals. We keep reinventing the rules to benefit Jordan, right? So if we go on about finals, specifically by finals, there are players that have more rings than Jordan and never lost in the finals. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Robert Horry got 7 rings, and he's never lost in the finals, if I remember correctly. Is Robert Horry the GOAT? By their logic, Jordan is the only player in sports, maybe with the exception of Muhammad Ali, that we don't count their losses, because we never counted Ali's losses. We never counted that. I'm not going to jump off topic on boxing, but they gave Ali the GOAT status too. And most of that just came from him telling everybody from day one he was the GOAT. Ali got his ass whooped a few times in that ring. A few times. I digress. Going forward, though, the best basketball player I've ever seen, and I've never seen him in person, of course, I'm too young. The best basketball player I've ever seen on a video clip, just accounting for everybody, that was Wilt Chamberlain. We don't talk about Wilt because he played in the era where there was a lot of political turmoil going on in the country. He was black, of course. So the NBA being a white league, white-run league, they stifled Wilt's image. He didn't fit their marketing strategy. But again, history is a funny thing. So when you look at all of the record books, Wilt Chamberlain was number one in like almost every damn statistical category. So you bring that fact up to old guys. Oh, he was the biggest guy in the world, and nobody was big as him. And they didn't know, there was no other big guys playing in basketball at the time. Wrong. In videos on the internet, we could see they had every team when Wilt was playing had a 7-footer. These guys, it'd be 4 or 5 guys climbing on his back, and he still dunked on them. But see, that goes against the narrative of supposedly how tough the NBA was in the 90s, which is also not true. Wilt actually spoke on that himself. When they asked him about the toughness of the 90s, he said, and he said it multiple times, if I were playing today, and today was in the 90s when he was saying this, I would score 75 points a game, is what he said. And most people believe him. Remember, this man averaged 50 points a game already and 25 assists. So he wasn't just a big dude that was this Goliath type of guy. He was an athlete, and people will tell you he was one of the most gifted athletes ever. He was faster than everybody. He was stronger than everybody. And he was skilled. Look up the scores. Look up the records. So we're not going to count Wilt because he never won a championship. Okay, if that's the argument you want to make, okay. I don't necessarily subscribe to that argument. But okay. Because one great player can't make their team. Well, I got to be careful with this because LeBron has actually done it. LeBron has carried teams into the NBA Finals that we like, how the hell did he do that? Nobody else could have done that. He had a team full of garbage, took him to the finals. It didn't even matter who you put on the team. Just give LeBron 4 guys out the stands. They'll win a championship. We had never seen that before. Mike couldn't do that. They surrounded Mike around. They always talk about LeBron invented the super team. That's not true. There were other super teams. The Lakers in the 80s was a super team. Hell, the Celtics were a super team. The new Celtics with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen was a super team. The Spurs were a super team. Actually, they had 2 super teams. David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Are you kidding me? Just them 2 by themselves make a super team. And then it was Tim Duncan, Ginobili, and Tony Parker. That was a super team. And they had Pop as the coach. Greatest coach of all time in the NBA. Yeah, I said it. Phil Jackson ain't the greatest. Popovich is. I digress. So they wanted to take things away from Wilt. He didn't get a championship. Well, he was on crappy teams. And he was going against other good teams. Even though he was great, he got to be able to pass the ball to somebody. They surrounded Jordan. 3 all-time top 10 3-point shooters. Even though the league wasn't a 3-point league. But because Jordan couldn't shoot. See, that whole myth about, Jordan, if they were shooting threes like they do today, Jordan would have averaged 40. Bullshit. Jordan couldn't shoot until he got old. And even then, he only had like a little 20-foot jumper. They had Steve Kerr, John Paxson, and Craig Hodges. See, that's another guy who got blackballed by the politics because he showed up at the White House and wearing a dashiki or something, and they blackballed him. They don't even talk. When they talk about great shooters, they skip over Craig Hodges. They'll go right to Reggie Miller or something. And I like Reggie Miller. He was phenomenal. But as far as consistently being a great shooter, that wasn't Reggie Miller. That was Craig Hodges. Look up the numbers. Look up the numbers. All-time great. They had to surround Jordan with these guys because Jordan couldn't shoot. Horace Grant was a top 10 power forward at that time. Scottie Pippen was probably the best wingman anybody's ever had. He did all of the dirty work, right? Then they get from Europe, Tony Kukoc. Tony Kukoc was #1 in Europe. He was like the best player from Europe at that time, which is why Chicago ain't got him. They weren't getting average guys from Europe at that time. They only brought exceptional guys over here. Tony Kukoc was like #1 at that time. And that was after my man died from the Nets. Right? Dennis Rodman, probably the greatest rebounder of all time. So Jordan wasn't on a super team. Oh, they didn't have a center. First of all, they had 3 or 4 quality centers. Bill Weddington was quality. Bill Cartwright was quality. They always had a quality center. But the game was moving away from dominant centers at that point. So you didn't need a dominant center when everybody else was dominant at the other positions. So let's go back. That's my monologue. Let's start talking facts now, right? So as I brought up earlier, reason number 1 on why Jordan is not the GOAT. Jordan's career record is not 6-0. He played 15 seasons. His career record is 6-15. And if you look in the description, I break it down by year. So when you look from 84 to 89, loss. He was getting his ass handed to him. See, they like to show y'all clips. That game where he dropped 63 on the Celtics. He never beat the Celtics. Yeah, he had that one game where he dropped 63 and he did the little shuffle move and shot the jumper in Bird's face. And Bird called him God in basketball shoes. So what? He never beat the Celtics. He got his ass handed to him year after year after year after year. Look it up. Jordan was played in the 80s. He didn't start winning until 91. That's because he was getting his ass handed to him. Jordan has retired 3 times. Not because, he just dominated the league and he got bored. He was getting his ass handed to him. And Jordan doesn't like to lose. So he's one of those guys that I'll take my ball and go home, guys. And that's what he did. He did it twice. So the first time he retired, as I pointed out earlier, was after he won that championship in 93. Right? So 94 season is when he played baseball. 1994 is when he played baseball. He came back in 95 and lost to SHAQ. Then he retired again for the second time in 1999. Now we're getting into the Tim Duncan era. He didn't want to go against them boys. They were better coached. And they were phenomenal. Unfortunately, Tim Duncan wasn't very marketable like Wilt. If he was more marketable, Tim Duncan would have had amazing shoe sales and all of that stuff. But he was a quiet guy. He just handled business. Jordan comes back after the second retirement and plays in 01 and 02 for the Wizards. Now he's 39, 40, and he looked like garbage. He looked like garbage the last few years. He was old. He couldn't jump the way he used to jump. And because he wasn't this phenomenal shooter that everybody tried to make him out to be, jumping, his ability to jump is what made Jordan special. He was in the league at the time when he came into the league. Guys didn't have 46-inch verticals. You only maybe had 5 guys in the whole league that could jump like that. Dominique was one of them. Dominique Jordan and maybe 3 other guys. But now we're getting around 99 where the young boys is coming in and they all can jump like that. They all have that Jordan skill set. He didn't want to play against it. He punked out. Yeah, I said it. Now, so he's not 6-0, he's 6-15. Reason number 2, he never passed Kareem or Wilt. See, at this time, during Jordan's career, when he was actually playing, you ask any of the legends, who's the GOAT? They either said Wilt or Kareem. I believe in the description, I share a link to their interviewing. It's 1997, and they're interviewing Clyde Drexler, played for Portland, was on the Dream Team, played against Mike. They're interviewing him. Wilt Chamberlain is sitting next to him, and Clyde was just was starstruck. And they asked him, who's the GOAT? He said, this is why I'm sitting here. Like, my kids love it. He tells a story about his kids, and he's giving Wilt the props. This is the GOAT right here. I'm sitting next to him. 1997. Then the camera goes over to Wilt. Wilt, how many points was they love asking him that? How many points would you score? Then he breaks it down and gives his logic on why he's going to give his answer. Well, with the rules, the league is softer, and you can't really do nothing to a guy. With all of those rules, I scored 65, 70 points a night. They took it, they tried to play it off like the man was joking. He wasn't joking. He didn't laugh like I'm being funny. Keep in mind, this is a man who scored 100 in a game. This is a man who averaged 50 points, 25 assists, a dozen rebounds. This is what he averaged. He wasn't joking. So, again, because he didn't win a championship, we got to go to Kareem, and Kareem was the all-time scoring leader. When did Michael Jordan pass either one of those guys? Please, somebody tell me what year that happened. I'll wait, because this is 1997 I'm talking about. Remember, Jordan retired the second time in 99, just 2 years later after this interview. So, up until now, again, Jordan is not the GOAT. So when did he become the GOAT? I'll wait. It's always been officially Kareem, because Kareem had the championships. He had the pedigree and the championships and the accolades to substantiate that claim. So when did Mike pass him? In 1994, they built a statue in Chicago for the new arena that they built out there, and they built a statue of Jordan, his iconic pose or whatever. The inscription on that statue is something to the effect of greatest of all time. I don't know the exact words, but all-time great or something. And at that time, this is what you heard little whispers of Jordan is the GOAT at that time. So that whole, Jordan is the GOAT because he got 6-0 is bullshit. He had only had 3 championships when he started saying that nonsense. Remember, I told you they keep moving the goalposts for this guy. So now that he's retired and got another 3 rings, he got 6 now. Now he's the GOAT. And they changed the rules. And they purposely changed the rules to eliminate guys like Karl Malone, like Wilt Chamberlain. They purposely did that to benefit Jordan because they had so much money invested in the marketing in Jordan's brand. Here comes LeBron, early 2000s. LeBron is, I probably can say he's probably the only player that I've ever seen live up to the hype. They've been hyping this guy ever since he was in high school as being the next big thing. And usually guys buckle under that pressure. He's the one that actually from day one, the moment he stepped on the court in the NBA, he's been the best player in the NBA. Arguably every year. Even now, you still make that argument. Every year. There's no debate of what I just said. Now, you may debate, is Kevin Durant better or is Giannis better? The fact of the matter is LeBron is in that conversation every year. Every year. He's going to play till he was 40 or beyond. I usually tell people to pick your top 5, but do it this way. Go by position. Start with your center. Who you picking for center? It's going to be one of 3 names. SHAQ, Wilt, or Kareem, depending on who you are, who you like, whatever your flavor is. That's who you're going to pick. All right, let's slide on down. Who you got it forward? Well, to me, you're only going to pick Tim Duncan or KG. Right? Maybe Kevin Garnett. Well, maybe. No, we're going to stay with that at 4. You get to 3, that's LeBron. There's no question about that. You got to put LeBron at 3. When you get to 2, who do you pick? Do you pick Kobe or Jordan? Personally, I pick Kobe because Kobe could shoot better. When you get to number 1, depending on what style of play you want to play, I'm going to put Steph Curry there or Allen Iverson. That's me. Do your top 5 like that. You skip over Jordan. Well, you may put Jordan at 2. Maybe. But he's going to fuck up the chemistry of the team. See, that's what I'm thinking of. Because he is a ball hog. Isaiah Thomas made an interesting comment. How can you be the GOAT when you never led in any statistical category? I agree with that. LeBron has broken, every time you turn around, he's broken some of Wilt's records that we never thought would be broken. LeBron is going to be, he's already number one in scoring all time. He's passed Kareem in the playoffs and regular season. He's going to be top 5 in category like assists, rebounds, minutes played, probably. I believe the league was weaker. Reason number 3 in the 90s. They always want to talk about how weak the league is today and how tough it was in the 90s, Jordan's era. I don't agree with that. Again, I was in that era. The only tough team you had was the Knicks. Outside of the Knicks, who was a tough team? See, this is where they play games. And then, well, the Detroit, no, Detroit was in the 80s. You can't steal them teams from the 80s and put them in Jordan's era to make his highlights look good. Jordan got his ass kicked in the 80s. You got to start at 91 when he started winning. Who was the tough teams? The Knicks. That's it. Most of these teams were garbage. He never played anybody who was a significantly great team. Not even the Knicks. They were a physical team, but they weren't great. So who did he play? He played the Sonics. He played the old Lakers. He played the Utah Jazz twice. Who else did he play? The Suns. That had a broken down Barkley and Dan Marley and Kevin Johnson. That's not a great team. Get real. Get real. Played the Jazz twice, the Sonics once. Played the Suns, the Blazers, and the Lakers. The Blazers had Clyde Drexler. Again, he never played anybody. Look at who was guarding Jordan. The Lakers was old, so we're not even going to talk about the Lakers. Who was guarding Jordan when they played the Blazers? Was Drexler guarding him? I can't even remember. When he played the Suns, who was guarding him? Some random white dude? Come on, stop, y'all. The second, when he played the Sonics, Gary Payton was hurt. And Gary Payton still shut Jordan down for 2 games. Go back and look at the stats. Jordan only scored like 12 points one game and 11 points the other game. Gary Payton was hurt and shut him down for 2 games. That's why they called him the glove, youngsters. And again, the Blazers, I think it was Clyde Drexler that was guarding him. No defensive specialist. And the Suns. And so we go to the Jazz. Some white guy guarding him. And then it was, the guy, who is that guy? He scored the winning shot over him on that one play. The guy slipped and he stepped back and shot a free throw, basically. That guy wasn't no great player. He wasn't no defensive specialist. I mean, get real. Jordan didn't play nobody. All nostalgia. And even when he on his road to the championships, who were these great teams? He played Cleveland. Outside of the Knicks, who did they play? Nobody. You don't even remember who he played. I want y'all to stop with the foolishness. I want y'all to stop. I want y'all to stop. I did post a link to Isaiah Thomas's interview with Stephen A. Go and watch that video. That's my fourth reason. I'm not even going to talk. Let Isaiah talk. Because Isaiah played in the 80s. He's going to tell you straight up. Like, Jordan wasn't even a factor. And he said it. Well, Kareem is the GOAT. And once LeBron passes Kareem, then you'll have to anoint him the GOAT. Isaiah Thomas, one of the greatest point guards of all time, said that. And I did post the Wilt Chamberlain interview as well. Watch that. I posted another interview with the legends. They're interviewing random legends, including Jordan himself, on who the GOAT is. And see, because Jordan is such a punk ass, on that interview, he talks about, oh, well, you really can't say one era versus this era, who is the best. And so then nigga come out and say, I'm not the GOAT. Come out and say it. Nah, he wants to be that false equivalency crap because he know he benefits from that conversation. So he's not going to flat out come out and say, I'm not the GOAT, this guy is. Even though deep down he knows it. Oh, I never played against Wilt. I never did. You damn right you never played against Wilt. Wilt played in the late 60s and 70s. Get real. Jordan is such a punk ass, man. I can't stand him. He's an arrogant punk ass. And I used to love this guy. I thought he was the best player I ever seen. Until I got more basketball knowledge under my belt. And I realized he's not the best ever. He was great, but not the greatest. Not the greatest. And he's really a horrible person. Because he left Craig Hodges hanging. That was his boy, and he left him hanging. And that's fucked up, man. And that's what makes LeBron better to me, is that LeBron takes care of people. He takes care of all his boys. He don't leave nobody hanging. For the most part, you know. He can't save everybody. But Jordan wouldn't have survived in today's basketball because of social media. He did a lot of behind-the-scenes crap. You know, that the gambling, the drinking, the cheating, and all of that other stuff that would have got exposed. And he didn't have to play under that pressure. The constant eyes on you. LeBron is the GOAT. If we're not going to give it to Wilt, LeBron did, as Isaiah said, he passed Kareem in scoring. So LeBron is the GOAT. And he's still playing. And he's still playing great. He's not a broken down version of himself. He's still playing great. LeBron is the GOAT. I've never seen nobody that fast. And I've seen him play in person. And he from baseline to baseline, this guy is to be that big. Oh my God, it's scary how fast he is. It's scary. Well, that's my argument. Michael Jordan is never the GOAT. Whether you want to give it to LeBron or not, Michael Jordan ain't the GOAT. It never has been. It's either Wilt or Kareem. That's it. And if you change the rules, I guess Robert Horry's the GOAT. Maybe we're going to make that a hashtag. Robert Horry's the GOAT. Fuck out of here. That's all I got, people. It's your boy. It's been real. My name is V. Ben Israel, the People's Champ. Please like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share. Holla at your boy. I'm out.